solely by how others perceive them. The vanity that compels someone to constantly showcase their looks, their possessions, or their perceived superiority is a hollow pursuit, one that reveals deep insecurity rather than strength. True confidence doesn't require validation at every single turn. A person who knows their worth doesn't need to remind others of it incessantly. In contrast, vanity betrays a desperate hunger for approval, a need to be seen, to be envied, to be placed on a pedestal. And the tragedy of it is that the more a person craves admiration, the less they truly receive it in any meaningful way. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking pride in one's appearance, accomplishments, or strengths. The problem arises when that pride warps into self-obsession, when it becomes the defining trait of a person's character rather than a subtle undercurrent. Vanity is often mistaken for confidence, but the two are profoundly different. Confidence is quiet, self-assured, and rooted in an inner sense of self-respect. Vanity, on the other hand, is loud, performative, and it demands external reinforcement. A confident person walks into a room and carries themselves with ease, needing no validation. A vain person walks into a room and scans it for eyes upon them, for admiration, for some sign that they are the center of attention. It's exhausting to witness and even more exhausting to engage with. The vain person doesn't listen so much as they wait for their turn to speak. Conversations with them feel one-sided, as if they're constantly steering the subject back to themselves, their experiences, their importance. They can't celebrate the successes of others without comparing them to their own. They can't tolerate criticism, no matter how constructive, because it threatens the fragile image they've built. They may feign humility, but this is just a tactic, way to invite further praise disguised as modesty. There's something inherently dishonest about vanity, deception not only toward others, but toward the self. It requires a constant act, a perpetual performance of self-importance that's both tiring and ultimately unsustainable. Maybe one of the most unattractive aspects of vanity is how it warps priorities. A vain person places an excessive amount of importance on things that self-delusion. A vain person convinces themselves that they're exceptional, above others in some way, deserving of endless admiration. But in reality, they're often viewed with quiet disdain or, at best, tolerated for their superficial charm. Vanity makes a person blind to how they're truly perceived. They may think they're envied, but more often than not, they're merely pitied or avoided. They may believe they're magnetic, but in truth, their neediness repels. A person who constantly seeks attention, who's desperate to be admired, who can't function without praise. This isn't someone who commands respect. If anything, they inspire irritation, even mockery. Furthermore, vanity is unattractive because it's fragile. It doesn't withstand time, failure, or change. A person who builds their sense of worth upon their beauty will inevitably struggle as age takes its toll. A person who defines themselves by status will crumble when it's taken away. A person who measures their value by admiration will feel lost when the applause fades. Vanity offers no real foundation, no lasting fulfillment, only a constant and exhausting pursuit of external validation. And yet, despite its inherent weakness, it often masquerades as strength. It's an illusion, one that fools only those who are too consumed by their own reflection to see beyond it. In contrast, there's something infinitely more compelling about a person who doesn't need to be the center of attention, who doesn't demand admiration, but who simply exists with quiet confidence, unshaken by the opinions of others. A person who values depth over display, sincerity over spectacle, is someone who naturally draws others in. The most attractive people aren't those who constantly try to prove their worth, but those who simply live in a way that reflects it. There's beauty in humility and self-awareness, in a life lived without the desperate need to be seen as extraordinary.